This is day 3 of 5 of some delicious homemade or from scratch Valentine's treats for you and your family. Again, these are all of the ingredients that I have been using over the course of these days. And you guys, yummy, delicious goodness is happening. I'm Rebekah with Learning Together by Grace, Homemaking God's Way. Y'all, let's go. So today we are making this delicious strawberry cobbler. Oh my goodness. So I am starting off with some frozen strawberries. You can also use fresh strawberries, but I do like the way that frozen strawberries cook up when it comes to making cobblers. So I added 3 cups of strawberries to my baking sheet. And then I'm going to literally mix everything right in my baking sheet just to make things easier. I'm using honey to sweeten them, and I used 1/4 cup of honey. You can add more if you like it a little bit sweeter, but you'll see what I do in a little bit after cooking it in the oven for a little while. So next up, I am using 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then, you guys, my special ingredient is some strawberry extract. You guys, this is going to take your cobbler to the next level and really make that strawberry flavor pop. So I will make sure that I have the recipe to this strawberry biscuit cobbler down below in the description. I'm also adding a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then, of course, 3 tablespoons of butter. And I just like to cut my butter up into small pieces and spread it all over the fruit in order to make sure it gets butter in every single nook and cranny of those strawberries. All right, you guys, so this is going to go inside of a preheated oven. I preheated the oven at 350 degrees, and we are going to cook this for 20 minutes. I like to set myself a timer because, you guys, I go around doing stuff in the house and I forget about things. So once this comes out of the oven, because I did taste the strawberries, I wanted it to be a little bit sweeter. And so I just decided to add in some regular cane sugar. I think I added in 3 tablespoons of cane sugar here. Again, if you want to just use honey, just use honey. Or if you just want to use sugar from the start, just use sugar from the start. And I'm just sprinkling it all over the strawberries, and I'm just going to mix it in together. I just want to make sure that the sugar gets nicely incorporated throughout the strawberries and the syrup that's already been created. So now we are moving on to making the biscuits. Being that this is a dessert, I'm going to make sure that I make these biscuits a lot sweeter. And so with the dough, I am doing 1 cup of all-purpose flour. And I've said this before, I like to scoop my flour into whatever it is that I'm using for my measurement, because it does make for a fluffier consistency. Now, you can also sift your flour. This does take an extra step, but it'll make it even fluffier. But to save time, I just scoop it into my measuring cup. All right, and now I am adding in some cane sugar, and I'm adding more sugar than what I normally would add because, again, this is a dessert, so I want to make it sweeter. I added in 1/3, or it was either 1/3 or 1/2 cup. I'll have the recipe below, like I said, so that you know the exact measurements. All right, so as I am baking, of course, my children and my husband, they always come in and have conversations with me, and sometimes they'll join in with me. But here's my daughter, and she just wanted to make a little cameo appearance here as I was cooking up everything. That's my crazy for you, you guys. All right, I added in some baking powder and some salt, and I'm just mixing all of that together. And then I'm going in with 1 stick of cold butter, and I'm just going to cut it up into pieces. add it to my flour, and I'm just going to mix it around for a little bit just to get the flour coated over the butter. And then I'm just going to take my fork and begin to mash it down, because you do want to create like a grainy sand-like batter. And I like to finish things off with my hands because I just like to feel my food, because it lets me know if the consistency is right. Now I am also going in with the vanilla extract as well as that strawberry extract to this dough, because we want to allow that flavor to pop throughout the entire process. Once I mix that in, I just go in with some cold milk to create my dough. Now I only used about 1/4 cup of milk. I measured out 1/2 cup, but 1/4 cup was enough for me. You want to add it a little bit at a time, because you don't want your dough to be too wet, nor do you want it to be too dry. It needs to be just right. Now, before I add the biscuit batter to the top of my strawberries, I'm just going in and pressing some of those strawberries down, because I do want some of them to be a lot softer. And then we are going to treat these like drop biscuits and literally just drop the dough on top of the strawberries. And then once we get done with dropping the dough on top of those strawberries, we're then going to use either your fork or your spatula or even your hands, and you're just gonna kind of spread the dough all over the strawberries just to make sure that each area does get covered, as I'm doing here. Once it gets into the oven, you are going to see that it does spread out, but you still want to make sure that most of your biscuits are covering your strawberries. Now I'm adding this to a preheated oven. I preheated it to 400 degrees. And initially I only baked it for 20 minutes. And then I added it back to the oven for another 15 minutes. So this is what it looks like, y'all. The aroma that was coming from our house was divine. And this is it plated up. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe, and come back tomorrow because I'm going to be making some homemade strawberry ice cream. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and share. Hit that notification bell so that you know when I post again. You guys, God bless you and take care. Bye.